Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Liftoff webinar. I'm Christine Longroy, Senior Vice President, Senior Director of Ecosystem for Lyft. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Today I have the pleasure of introducing our presenter today. I'd like to introduce Vice President Alex Lesser from PSSC Labs NZO Cloud, who will be presenting overcoming unforeseen limitations of cloud computing and storage. So Alex is the Vice President. As I mentioned, he leads engineering teams that are facing ever increased demands to securely deliver solutions on time and on budget. Obviously, we all know that the cloud has promised unlimited computing resources and is a good choice for engineering organizations. However, traditional cloud vendors may not ultimately be the cause of problems due to budget constraints. So today we're going to hear how important it is for us to listen, and I'm going to have Alex take it away with our presentation today. So thank you, Alex.
Welcome to Liftoff Webinars, brought to you by Lyft, the National Advanced Material Manufacturing Innovation Institute, where we drive American manufacturing into the future through technology and talent development. Lyft is a public-private partnership where we convene and connect government, industry, and academia in the fields of advanced materials, manufacturing processes, systems engineering to enhance America's manufacturing competitiveness, national economy, and national security.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Alex Lesser. I'm Vice President at PSSC Labs and NZO Cloud. Today, we're going to be discussing how cloud computing has transformed the engineering and design industry and some of the benefits and pitfalls that we've noticed over the past decade. The cloud promised and the cloud delivered. With unlimited computing resources, unfortunately, came unforeseen limits. Today, we're going to go through some of those unforeseen limits and how design and engineering companies can overcome those by rethinking cloud computing and how it can benefit their business. We believe that it's time for a new cloud that puts you, the engineers, in control. When we're talking control, we're discussing the ideas of predictable, reliable, and repeatable performance, fixed subscription pricing with no surprise charges, custom cloud instances engineered specifically for your needs and budget, and simplified security for maximum access control. What's interesting, when we did our research, we found that loss of control of those four things results in a near 50% failure of projects in the cloud. What good is unlimited cloud resources if it's simply too expensive to utilize? This graph here represents the fact that the concern is not necessarily a lack of access to cloud computing resources, but the limitations of budget in achieving cloud project goals. Cost controls. Again, as I mentioned earlier, nearly 50% of all projects fail in the cloud simply due to cost overruns. Many of you who are either evaluating cloud or even start in the cloud have probably experienced at some point a surprise shock at the cost of their cloud bill. This is not uncommon. This seems to be, unfortunately, the standard for many of the traditional cloud providers. We believe that there is a simple solution to solving this problem with a fixed subscription pricing model similar to something like Netflix, where you're able to get access to all the cloud computing resources you need with a simple, fixed, monthly, repeatable budget. What we found also by doing this is that you actually are able to garner more cloud computing resources with this subscription pricing rather than the traditional click-by-click, tick-by-tick pricing of traditional cloud vendors. As an example, our NZO cloud service, as you can see here, for the same $10,000 a month budget, offers nearly 2 to 3 times the amount of cloud computing resources as traditional cloud vendors. Again, one fixed, simple price for all your cloud computing and storage needs. For us, this means no surprise charges, no more cost penalties for experimentation, no additional data transfer fees, no additional licensing fees. One thing I find when I speak with different engineering companies, the cost associated with the cloud often result in an inability or a decision that has to be made whether or not to continue to experiment, to try new things, or unfortunately limit that to adhere to strict budget requirements. System design. Why do only 3 companies get to decide what's best for you? And when I'm discussing those companies, I'm speaking specifically of the traditional cloud vendors. On this call, we are engineers. We know what is best for our specific needs and applications. Why not have the ability to design the right instances for you? Why not be able to specify specific performance metrics to meet business requirements? And why not utilize the latest and greatest in hardware advancements to take advantage of all the different investments put forth by companies like Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, Xilinx, etc. During our conversations and working with our clients, we have found that no two companies' cloud needs are the same. In fact, every single system that we have deployed, either as an on-prem or in the cloud environment, has been unique and custom configured for that specific company's specific needs and budgets. With NZO, what we find is the ability to engineer the right computing instances for your specific needs and budgets allows greater flexibility, greater return on investment, and greater ability to deliver to the business their needs and requirements. In the cloud, we believe that there should be limitless configuration options. You should be able to design your cloud instance for the specific applications and business requirements. This means selecting the correct processor, selecting the amount of memory required, selecting the storage as well. Network connection speed is obviously critical for any engineering workloads in the cloud, from CFD to FEA. In addition, why not be able to take advantage of the latest AI and ML hardware advancements from NVIDIA with different GPUs designed specifically for those applications? In turn, we increase the overall performance by creating the right system design. NZO, what is unique about NZO, unlike other traditional cloud vendors, is our 100% dedicated compute and storage resources. No more virtualization to limit performance. Traditional cloud vendors often throttle down their compute instances in order to satisfy many different application needs. Engineering applications, CFD, FEA, need the absolute highest level of dedicated computing power. Being able to access 100% of the resources means that you will be able to have predictable performance every single run, every single time. This, we believe, will transform your organization's development with that level of consistency and deliverable to ensure that you're able to meet and deliver business goals. Total control. In NZO, one of the benefits is a orchestration stack that includes all the tools needed to deliver your workloads. This includes a batch scheduler, open MPI libraries, development tools from NVIDIA, 0 additional licensing fees, storage comes bundled as part of the initial offering, and of course, monitoring and reporting features. No more bottlenecks to limit your cloud performance. Again, no more virtualization, no more system resource sharing, cloud orchestration management with development tools, and of course, onboarding engineers are included to ensure a simple, easy deployment and production-ready environment. Security. Security is critical for any cloud environment. For us, we believe security is job priority 1, 2, and 3. Unlike other cloud vendors, NZO includes a dedicated security firewall appliance for every individual client. This means that you are able to relay any security protocols that need to be implemented in your cloud environment, resulting in an ability of your security officer to be able to see every single bit and byte transferred into and out of the cloud environment. In addition, we go a step further with an optional bastion box as an added layer of security. One of the really unique benefits of NZO is the ability to have a dedicated static IP address. This means that you will know where all of your data resides at all times. Because NZO is accessible by only your organization, you can see, again, every single connection and every data file transfer. That secure firewall and optional bastion box offer a level of security simply not available with any traditional cloud vendors. During our discussions with many of our clients, security is one of the biggest hurdles that they must overcome to ensure a safe access to any cloud environment. With NZO, our security profile ensures that your security officer will always be satisfied knowing exactly who is accessing your cloud instances and who is transferring and uploading or downloading any files. Security simplified. This graph represents a very simplified infrastructure and security stance that you can use to meet any security requirements. You'll see you'll have a private internet connection going to a private secure firewall, that optional bastion box, of course, going to a private, dedicated, non-virtualized NZO cloud environment. Control your access and security. Just to summarize, security for your job, for us, for your data, is job priority 1, 2, and 3. Security firewall configured by you, always included as part of our NZO cloud environment. Dedicated internet access line available as well. We offer a FISMA compliant, ITAR compliant, HIPAA compliant, and ISO 27001 certified security controls. It's all about your success in the cloud. Again, we believe a consistent, dependable, high-performance cloud experience will transform your organization. With NZO, you will now have the freedom to experiment without any cost penalties. You'll be able to maximize your ROI on every dollar spent because you will be designing the right instances optimal for your specific application needs. You'll be able to have access to dedicated, non-virtualized instances, getting 100% of the compute and storage resources available for your cloud environment. We invite you to experience the next generation cloud. We offer flexible cloud delivery options, proven application compatibility, and a true white glove cloud experience. Freedom to choose your delivery options. NZO is offered as a Cloud HPC as a service, Cloud HPC hosted edition, or Cloud HPC on-premise edition. As a service, it is a simple fixed cost monthly subscription fee that guarantees access to all the cloud computing and storage resources that you need within your budget constraints. Cloud HPC hosted edition is a capital purchase of the equipment along with a monthly hosting and support fee that again is fixed cost and completely offloads that to those HPC resources from your IT department. Cloud HPC on-premise is a cloud system delivered, boxed, and sent to your desired location. Included with even our on-premise is our support and services contract, ensuring you have access to engineers, HPC engineers that can help with any questions you have regarding the application, the cloud environment, as well as any traditional hardware, power requirements, etc. NZO is certified compatible with hundreds of applications in this space. We work very closely with a number of different application providers in the CFD and FEA industry, from ANSYS to CFD++, Nastrans, MATLAB, LS-DYNA, etc. If it runs on a traditional computing environment, it will run within the NZO cloud. Our engineers are also available to help install these applications and ensure maximum productivity in your cloud environment. With that, we simply want to ask, let's get started and see what questions you have for me as you journey through your cloud experience.
Thanks, Alex. Great presentation. We've got some questions coming in. Are you ready to take those questions? Appreciate the presentation today. What I gained is visibility, dedicated resources, predictable performance, delivering on business goals, security. Sounds like it's a correct solution. You've got some, technical people, as you said, on the line here today. So let's get started with some of those questions. Again, thank you for your presentation today. So, let's start with this one. How are other engineering companies using NZO Cloud right now? Can you talk about some of those use cases and share with the audience what those might be?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Thank you again for helping here, Christine. So currently we have a number of different engineering companies using NZO Cloud in a variety of manners. Something as simple as storing, accessing CATIA files in a secure environment, all the way to running production level workloads, as well as we have a number of companies who are doing development of their CFD software itself. And we're also working with a few companies to potentially develop more of a SaaS product model as well, where they would be able to offer through NZO Cloud a turnkey bundled SaaS product solution.
Thank you for that. How about limitations to cloud? You talked about a lot about security and how important that is, and but is there any limitation to the amount of cloud and storage resources needed to get started?
No, not really. Unlike a lot of other sort of traditional cloud environments, we don't really have any barriers to entry in terms of the number of, let's say, compute instances or storage capacity. Some people are doing a very simple environment with a less than $1,000 a month budget, doing things like disaster recovery or backup. So again, we're really open and flexible to begin providing cloud resources wherever people have the initial need and demand. I know a lot of the engineering companies are still kind of dipping their toes into cloud computing, so they're not sure that they want to move everything there, which is completely okay with us. If it makes sense to start very small and begin there, that's perfectly okay.
I think that's a good point. It's like, get started, right?
Right, it's hard to kind of take that first leap into it. And we really do want to limit that barrier to entry as much as possible.
That's great. What type of, can you talk about, what type of engineering applications that can be run on NZO?
I think there was a slide that indicated we run a variety of both commercial and open source applications, ranging everything from ANSYS to Siemens, Nastran, CFD++ on the commercial side, as well as almost any other commercial application that runs on a Linux environment. And then open source as well. We do a lot of open source CFD applications, OpenFOAM, etc. So certainly, if there are any specific applications that users would like to ask about, feel free to contact me directly, and I can verify if in fact that it is compatible with NZO. But good rule of thumb, if it runs in a Linux environment, it will certainly run within NZO Cloud.
Perfect. You talked a little bit about customization, and it's probably, and I'd like to mention, I guess before I ask that question, the audience will receive the deck that you shared, so we'll send that out so everybody has that to follow up with. But you talked about customization. Is there anything you'd like to expand on the customization side, or is it on a case-by-case basis?
Yeah, what we've noticed is that everybody's computing and storage needs are very unique. A great example again is that sort of CATIA user who really, even though we're kind of mostly focused again on sort of the Linux side of the house, he just needed a very simple Windows file share directory. So we were able to develop a very unique custom environment, simple setup for him to be able to access securely those CATIA files for his engineering teams. So really, I think one of the keys that we found for success is enabling that onboarding engineer, our onboarding engineering team, to work directly with the NZO users to make it as seamless a part of their organization as possible. So not just necessarily the compute and storage instance, but all the way down to installing applications, setting up secure access via VPN access, etc. So really, when we look at that kind of that onboarding process, we see that as one of the real keys to success, and ensuring that once people feel comfortable with the NZO cloud environment, then they're able to start with dipping their toes in, but then to begin to expand the use cases and the size of the NZO environment going forward.
Excellent. And that kind of goes back to the dedicated resources that you mentioned, that makes it a seamless process. So I got another question here. So can NZO handle cloud multiprocessor internode jobs, which require low latency and high network bandwidth?
Yes, absolutely. That's really our specialty. We come from a high performance computing background, and a lot of our cloud users, our NZO cloud users, are using low latency, high speed networking fabrics from companies like NVIDIA with InfiniBand, going all the way up to 400 gigabits per second. So we definitely are really very well versed in that type of internode parallel processing communication. And again, that's all part of the customization process, which begins with an initial sort of discovery call.
Excellent. Well, that wraps up the questions that I have from the audience. I don't see any others coming in. I think, as I said, the presentation will be shared. Alex, I appreciate the thought leadership that you're sharing on what is really important. Obviously, Data's everywhere. This is important. Getting started is important. So I appreciate your presentation today. So thank you. I'd like to remind our audience that our next liftoff webinar is going to be June 5th. We will have Questec presenting applications of microstructures sensitive fatigue modeling. So mark your calendars for June 5th at 1 p.m. Again, Alex, I would like to thank you for your presentation today, and the audience, thanks for joining us for the liftoff webinar today. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
all.